Welcome to my channel, and I'm going to be discussing how freeform dreadlocks have always been around. Now, this video was inspired by Mr. Eddie Jones. He made a comment under my last video, basically saying, look, he don't understand why is there all of these attachments to simply dreadlocks. You know, you got freeform locks, you got semi-freeform locks, you got locks because people don't want to use the term dreadlocks anymore. You got wicks, and you got you know what I'm saying? You got all kinds of, people. I've fairy dreadlocks. I've heard all kinds of stuff, man. So I really can't speak to why the term exists, other than we're just in different times now where people, you know what I'm saying, people attach stuff to different things. So that's the only thing I can really say about why that is. But I want to say that he's definitely right. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, it was like wearing your hair like this was more. It was more of a political statement. It was more of a. It was more for the warrior-minded type people, and but we're at where we are today. Now, that's not to say today that people still don't express themselves through their hair as a political statement, or just they just want to make a statement. As far as how they wear their hair, that still goes on today. That's never going to stop as long as we got things in society that goes on. So it's just not as much today as it was back in, let's say, the 50s or something like that, 60s, 70s. So, but if you think about all the people who have had what we would call freeform dreadlocks, you know what I'm saying, you'll see that this has always been around. Somebody like a Dedan Kamathi. In fact, if you go look at his photo, and it's a pretty good, well, I don't want to say it's a good photo because it's aesthetically, it's a good photo, but like I've read the book and I've read about him, and then I know the facts behind that photo. But just looking at it, without knowing all of that, if you look at his dreadlocks, they sit just like mine. Well, mine's are a little longer now. His stopped about right here. So probably 3-4 years ago, mine, where I was pretty much identical. But when I first saw it, I'm like, yo, his dreadlocks look just like mine, just from the front. I don't know if he had one in the back or not, but I remember that thinking that, and he was the field marshal for the Kenyan Land and Freedom Army, fighting the British over there in Africa, in Kenya back in the day. And most of them had their dreadlocks. In fact, there's a lady warrior from that time. She's still living today, and her dreadlocks are still, she says she's not cutting them until she sees some change in her area. So her dreadlocks are long, 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 and she's a piece of history from those times. So, and they were in the forest fighting, so it was more convenient for them to have their hair in dreadlocks then. So that's why I say it was more for the warrior-minded, the warrior class as well back then. So, and then you got the Muse brothers. When I first saw them floating around on social media, I had to go look them up, and then I was just astounded that even back in the day, it was like the early 1900s. And I was like, yo, somebody back then had dreadlocks like these, you know what I'm saying, in America. And so that was pretty amazing to me. It was interesting that they were walking around then with their hair like that. And you look at just all kinds of people. And you look at the, what's their name? The Move organization. One of my favorite people that I've learned about. Very articulate, very intelligent, thoughtful brother, Mamiya Abu Jamal. And they had the whole Move organization, and there's Delwood Africa and all of those, Ramona Africa. So you had men, women, and children with untwisted dreadlocks, man. And again, you know what I'm saying, we're not, I want people to understand that we're not, you know what I'm saying, we're not inventing the wheel, reinventing the wheel or anything. It's always been there. You look at, you can go through a lot of you guys like Bob Marley. You can look at, he always called his hair dreadlocks or natties, so natty dreads. Mortimer Plano, he's got some of the best dreadlocks from back in the day I've ever seen. So this is just a few people, you know, and but you know, this has always been, man. Like this is nothing new. Now, again, I can't speak to the labels. I can say that for me, I don't use it off of the internet. And I'm not saying that using freeform locks is like a bad thing or anything. I'm just saying that there's history behind it that a lot of people, you know, don't know. You know, there's quite a few people on here that's just in it for the clicks and the views and the attention that they get from these types of dreadlocks, whether directly or indirectly. But you know, there's a history behind it, man. So it's, you know, I'm not saying that you have to know it to have these types of dreadlocks. You know, I'm saying it's good to know because there's a lot of, you know, warriors who sacrifice things who had these dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? And there's many great people who have these types of dreadlocks. So this ain't nothing new. Now, excuse me. I will give my opinion on why I think there's a lot of terms on it. I think that because there's this thing, now I haven't looked into this thing to know if it's true or not, but there's this thing to where, you know, people don't want to call their hair dreadlocks because there's nothing dreadful about my hair and blah, blah, blah. I think it's corny, but people say it and that's just what it is. But people don't want, you know what I'm saying, people are getting away from the term dreadlocks. So being that people are getting away from the term dreadlocks, you're going to have different people putting different names on it, and whatever catches is going to catch. Freeform locks happen to catch. And then out of that came semi-freeform, you know what I mean? I think though, Wicks, I think their name has been consistent for the most part. I mean, I know they call them bunks sometimes, you know, but for the most part, you know what I'm saying, Wicks has always, that's been around for, I think that's probably been around before freeform locks, before the term freeform locks, because Florida just, you know, Florida boys got their own, they got their own culture when it comes to that. So, and I'm actually going to be making a video on that. But that's where I believe the terms come from. This is where all these different terms come from, because people are getting away from one, you know, term. But like you said, back in the day, it was just dreadlocks, man. And, you know, that's just what it was. So that's it, man. That's all I wanted to come on here and say, man. Look, this has always been around. All we did was attach some names to it. But as usual, let me know you guys' thoughts on the video. And that concludes everything I have to say for this. Peace.